Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're looking past the usual tech giants to uncover 5 high-growth AI stocks that are forming the absolute critical infrastructure of the AI revolution. Just a quick reminder before we jump in, this exploration of the ecosystem is purely for educational purposes and isn't financial advice. So, let me ask you this. Are you totally laser focused on the crowded, headline grabbing mega caps like Nvidia and Microsoft? Because if you are, you might actually be missing out on the vast, hidden ecosystem required to make artificial intelligence actually function. You see, there's a huge difference between just piling into the saturated status quo of the mega caps versus investing in the essential foundation of the broader AI ecosystem. We're talking about the memory, the networking, the data prep, and the applications that power this entire boom. This is where you find sectors offering massive, under-the-radar scaling potential. Here's how we're going to break it down today. 1. Beyond the AI megacaps. 2. The foundational hardware layer. 3. The essential connective tissue. 4. Refining the AI data. 5. AI applications in action. And finally, 6. Your diversified AI strategy. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Beyond the AI Megacaps, Shifting Our Focus. Meet the 5 critical characters in our story today. We've got Micron Technology for hardware, Marvell Technology handling macro networking, Credo Technology Group for that tricky last-mile connectivity, Innodata refining the data, and SoundHound AI bringing it to end-user applications. Each of these companies solves a very specific, unique bottleneck, covering everything from physical memory chips right up to voice-activated software. Moving on to Section 2, let's look at the foundational hardware layer, where memory is absolutely key. Before we look at our first stock, we absolutely have to talk about HBM, or high bandwidth memory. This is that advanced DRAM architecture that enormous AI training models literally demand. Without this specialized memory processing data at totally unprecedented speeds, even the most insanely powerful GPUs out there would just sit completely starved for data. And that brings us to Micron Technology. Listen, they aren't just riding the AI wave, they are literally enabling it. They are entirely sold out of their 2026 HBM capacity. Sold out. And that's fueled by massive demand from hyperscalers like Meta and Amazon. When you look at their forward PEs sitting in the low to mid-teens, up to the 30s, and a dividend yield under 1%, their revenue CAGRs could optimistically hit 50% plus. They are essentially the ultimate bottleneck solver. Okay, Section 3, the essential connective tissue. This is all about moving the data. So, you've got the memory, right? Now you have to connect it all together. Enter Marvell Technology. These guys completely dominate the macro networking space. They specialize in data center networking and custom ASICs, basically moving mountains of data at lightning speed between GPUs and across servers. They're capitalizing on the immense power efficiency needed in these huge data centers. Their recent revenue guidance points to a phenomenal 20 to 40% plus growth, trading at a 40 to 60x forward PE with a small 0.3 to 0.5% dividend yield. But wait, how do you actually physically connect all that hardware inside those dense server racks? Well, you use AECs, or active electrical cables. These are highly specialized physical cables that give you lower power and much higher performance alternatives. They are the critically essential tech needed to bridge that final gap, what they call the last mile between dense hardware components. Which perfectly tees up Credo Technology Group. While Marvell handles the macro side, Credo is a pure play focused completely on solving that specific last-mile bottleneck with AECs and optical DSPs. They are winning design contracts left and right because their lower power solutions scale perfectly as AI compute density just keeps going up. Plus, they're aggressively expanding their portfolio through smart acquisitions like Dust Photonics and completely skipping a dividend right now to reinvest in that growth. To really wrap your head around Credo's explosive momentum, just consider the number $1.3 billion. Their fiscal 2026 revenue more than tripled to over $1.3 billion, driven almost entirely by AI infrastructure. And with guidance pointing to over 80% growth in fiscal 2027, that is a truly staggering metric. All right, shifting gears to Section 4, Refining the AI data, the true fuel for the models. People always say data is the new oil for AI. and Innodata is a specialized refiner flying under the radar. Honestly, that analogy hits the nail right on the head. Innodata provides the essential annotation, the datasets, and the engineering services. They are essentially selling the picks and shovels of the AI gold rush that frontier labs absolutely depend on to train and refine their large language models. You can see exactly how they're moving up the value chain into higher value AI tools just by looking at their financials. They posted a stellar 54% jump in Q1 2026 revenue, hitting over $90 million. And with raised full-year guidance projecting roughly 40% plus growth, they are clearly scaling right alongside the world's top AI labs. This brings us to Section 5, AI Applications in Action, getting down to the user interface. Here, we hit the surface layer with SoundHound AI. They take all that raw computing power and refined data we just talked about and turn it into accessible, monetizable voice applications. So unlike our back-end infrastructure plays, SoundHound lives right at the application layer. They are driving adoption directly through voice assistants, complex automotive integrations, and enterprise restaurant ordering systems. Now, sure, it definitely carries higher risk and the premium multiples you'd expect for early-stage growth companies, but their revenue scaling is pretty undeniable. After doubling to roughly $169 million in 2025, their Q1 2026 growth topped 50%, with 2026 guidance hitting up to $260 million and 2027 projections potentially crossing $350 million. It just proves that conversational AI is rapidly becoming a primary interface that businesses will gladly pay a premium for. Finally, Section 6, your diversified AI strategy, synthesizing the whole stack. So rather than betting the whole farm on just one giant megacap, looking at this ecosystem stack gives you a much smarter, truly diversified approach to this multi-year AI supercycle. You've got your memory, your macro networking, the last-mile connectivity, data infrastructure, and voice applications. It's fundamentally about capturing value at every single stage of this massive technological leap. But we've got to be real here. Any impartial analysis means we have to acknowledge the real-world market risks. We are talking about high macroeconomic sensitivity, extreme tech sector volatility, the ever-present danger of company-specific execution misses, and incredibly intense competition from big tech. It's a thrilling space for sure, but it absolutely requires careful position sizing and very disciplined dollar-cost averaging. As you continue your own research into these high-growth opportunities beyond the obvious everyday headlines, ask yourself, which specific bottleneck in the AI revolution do you find most compelling to explore next? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay curious about the ecosystem, and I'll catch you in the next one.